Alright, this is The Lord is One with another video on Mormonism. And this is sort of a follow-up to the last video, looking at the same verse and looking at another implication of it. And this is on the universe. And so here's the verse again, from the book of Abraham, chapter 4, verse 1. And it says, "And the Lord said, Let us go down. And they went down at the beginning, and they, that is, the gods, organized and formed the heavens and the earth." Now you may wonder why it says organized and formed rather than created, but there is a specific reason why it says that rather than created or made or something else. And the reason is because Mormon theology differs on the nature of the universe and whether the universe had a beginning with the standard Christian interpretation. And this is how Joseph Smith gives us his interpretation of this idea. He says, "Hence we infer that God had materials to organize the world out of chaotic matter, which is element, and which dwells in the all glory. Element had an existence from the time he had. The pure principles of the element are principles which can never be destroyed. They may be organized and reorganized, but not destroyed. They had no beginning and can have no end." And this is very interesting because that explains why it says he organized the universe, or that in the beginning God organized the heavens and the earth, not that he created the heavens and the earth. Because according to Mormon views, the heavens and the earth cannot be created. They've always existed, or at least the matter that made up them existed in some form, such that the universe has always existed in some form. And this sort of goes along with prevailing ideas that existed at the time, where it was back then, a large majority of the population, or a scientific community, believed that the universe did not have a beginning. Now, this wasn't really based on really evidence back then. It's just what they thought there ought to be. And even after the Big Bang model was proposed and then proven to be, or at least they found evidence for it with evidence. Even after that, you have people like, trying to propose that the universe was still eternal. He created this steady state model, and that model continued to be used, and was considered to go along against the Big Bang Theory. And it's only until actually fairly recently that the prevailing model is that the universe had a beginning, and it's only until recently that scientific communities are now realizing that we actually have proof of this. So this idea that Joseph Smith brings out is that the universe never had a beginning, and I think that's largely based on him trying to explain away, or at least try to make Mormonism go along with what current science was thinking, and trying to reinterpret passages of the Bible, even go right down to giving a retelling of Genesis chapter 1 in order to fit with what he thought it should be. And now, ironically, the theories that Joseph Smith was trying to make the Bible align with, or his Bible align with, have now been proven false. And thus, that would by extent mean that Mormonism is proven false by the current scientific models. And even worse than this is that it does actually contradict what the Bible says about this. Paul, for example, writes that through Jesus all things were created in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible. He says all things were created through him and for him. And this is a very clear passage, and it's true. I mean, the Bible does say that things were created, not merely formed or organized. that things were actually created. But that's not what Mormonism teaches. It teaches an eternal universe. And again, this is based on a misconception. So, thank you for watching, and God bless.